If you want to succeed as an Airbnb host, these are the 7 topics that you need to study today. Knowing these 7 topics, you can find the right property, set it up fast, set it up the right way so people will book with you at the right price, and your business will be so strong that anybody else could go out of business around you and you'll be the last Airbnb left standing, I guarantee it. Number 1 is market research. Before you pick up a property, you need to know how to do market research. And little arrow under that, competitor analysis. I think if anything, if you know the difference between market research and competitor analysis, you already know more than everybody else. Market research is when you look at a whole market. We're talking hundreds of properties at that data. We're looking at trends in the data. How many listings are there? How do all of them seem to be doing? How many more listings are there every year? Are they making more money than last year? Stuff like that. You can also research regulations, home prices, average rent prices. This is the stuff that allows you to start to do comps on whether or not a property will be profitable. Whenever you list an Airbnb property, you're going to pay a mortgage, or you're going to pay rent, you're going to pay utilities, you're going to pay for housekeeping. All of those come out of your revenue, and whatever is left is what you get to keep. So when you do your market research, you're going to have a Google spreadsheet of what you think your costs are going to be, and I do have videos on this. And to do this second column where you start to guess how much money you can make, the only way to do this accurately is to do competitor analysis, which means you stop looking at hundreds of listings and you start shopping around on individual listings. You can see other people's calendars. You can see how many bookings they have. You can see at what price they're getting their bookings. You can see how happy people were for the bookings that they got. You can see how these people are marketing their properties, what keywords they're trying to target. You can see their photos and whether or not their photos are a good quality. All of this stuff you can find for free. You do not need to pay AirDNA or Mashvisor or anyone else for that data. And I will tell you, pro tip, if you rely on those two heavily, you'll miss a lot of the data that you need to make the right decision. Because that data is not all ones and zeros. When you look at a competitor's listing, you're going to ask yourself, why are they doing well? Or why are they not doing well? It could be the quality of their photos. It could be the quality of their interior design. It could be that they have really stupid settings. You can find this out. This will help you choose a market where the hosts aren't so good and you can beat them. Or if you insist on being in a competitive market, you can find the hosts that make the most money and just copy them. Number 2, curveball, you need to learn sales. And this is important for more than just the beginning, but also your life as an Airbnb host. If you do rental arbitrage or you do co-hosting, you're going to have to convince someone else to give you their property. Now, co-hosting will be harder to pitch if you have no experience. So we're gonna cut that and save that for a video in the future because you need to have an Airbnb property. If you're gonna take my advice as an expert in this industry, if you try to co-host without any experience, you are gonna waste so much time trying to pick up a property because no one will trust you. It will be easier for you to rent a property, earn your stripes there, and use your one good property to pitch co-host from there. You need just one. Just one. Sales is the art of making an emotional decision make logical sense. It's the art of building trust to prepare to deliver that emotional and logical pitch. It's knowing when to push on somebody and when to back off. It's knowing that people do not take action unless they're given a little shove. And it's believing in yourself enough to partake in that type of negotiation. I have plenty of videos on sales. Watch those. Third is interior design, and you don't need to be good at this. You just need to know what a basic Airbnb should have, the bare minimum stuff. I'm going to do a future video on what the bare minimum is, but I have other videos on what to furnish your property with. Those are still very valid. You need to understand that Airbnbs need to have a color scheme. They need to be interesting. Regular Airbnbs do not perform anymore at any price point. If they are not interesting within their price bracket, people won't book them. And this is a good level of protection if you ever get into a price war with your Airbnb. Some markets can have slow seasons. Some markets can have downturns. Pretty properties will perform better at the same price as ugly properties. So if you can make your property pretty today, it'll help you down the road. If you're getting a big house, something expensive, something luxury, you can skip to paying a professional. What's cool about having a professional interior designer on bigger homes is they get stuff at wholesale price. So they can get you things cheaper than you could get them for, which means they can fit whatever they get paid into the deductions that they get you for their stuff. A lot of interior designers make this kind of pitch going, hey, yeah, sure, it cost me $5,000, but I can save you $5,000 on your stuff. For luxury properties, this makes sense. Now, if you're doing studio apartments or 1-bedrooms, again, your competitor analysis will teach you to copy people. And I want you to focus on a few things additionally before you go watch more videos. The ceiling. People skip the ceiling. Either paint the ceiling, put a chandelier, hang some stuff. Try not to have full blank walls in your photos. You do not have to make the whole place poppin', but when you go to take photos, you need to make sure that they look good. So when you design your place, I want you to plan for your photos. This is the key difference here with interior design and Airbnb design, is with interior design, you're usually designing the place to be lived in. From wall to wall, it's gonna be home. Airbnb design, you're designing walls for photos. You're designing corners for photos. You wanna make sure that the photos look good. You're gonna have a couple of spots that are missing some stuff and you can still get away with it and market your property the best that you can. I've got videos on products, photography, something called eye candy. Watch all of those if you're about to stage a property. Number 4 is product marketing. More specifically, photography and copywriting are the two things that you're gonna do a lot of here. Your photos have to look good on Airbnb. You can use an iPhone. I use an iPhone 14 for all of my apartments. If a home is bigger, more luxury, yes, you can hire a professional with the right kind of gear, fisheye lenses that don't have as much distortion, all the fancy stuff that you're probably never gonna need to touch because they will do the work. But smaller properties, you can do it from your phone as long as you do it right. You hold the phone low, you hold the phone level, and you make sure that you've got even lighting across the room. That is the most important thing, is good lighting for your photography, good lighting and a clean lens, right? So wipe off that phone lens. Take more photos than you need. That's another pro tip, because when you go to upload those to Airbnb, you might find out that a couple photos you liked don't look so good anymore. A little bit of Photoshop experience can help, but I'll tell you honestly, my iPhone photos get edited into their base iPhone software, nothing fancy. I even uploaded a YouTube short showing all of my settings for different rooms. You can watch that too and just copy all my iPhone settings. Copywriting can be done with ChatGPT. I'll be honest, it's not that hard. You just need to be able to be thorough and descriptive, punch it into ChatGPT and ask it to spit out some good copywriting for your listing. That's fine. And of course, I have a video on how I like to set up my listing, the format for my copy, my photos, everything. You can watch that video on how to create a listing and that will cover you there. 5 is operations. There are a few things that operations can touch, but let's talk about the turnover. That's really gonna be it. A guest will check out, your place will need to get cleaned, and then a guest will check in. And the reason why this is operations is anything that gets repeated on a frequent basis that you can write down, here's how it should go. Have you ever heard of standard operating procedures? That's operations. A housekeeping turnover is operations. And I know when you're new, you probably won't be good at housekeeping, which means you're going to hire a housekeeping company and they'll clean for you. But you're allowed to be at the property while they clean to make sure they do a good job. You are allowed to take notes, which is spying on them to find out what they do when they clean. And then you'll have notes of things that you realize that they missed. And you'll realize this because your guests will complain. It's gonna happen, it's okay, but take these notes. You're going to make your own operating procedure, your own to-do list for your Airbnb for when it gets cleaned, to make sure that everything is right, that the internet is working, that the TV isn't broken, that all of your wine glasses are there. There's gonna be some stuff, and that operating procedure, make sure that you have a good turnover every time. When you have a lot of properties, and I hope one day you do, operations will help you manage inventory. You might have 20 Airbnbs one day, and you'll have a centralized storage unit with all of your extras, all the extra coffee, sheets, towels, even a spare TV ready to go in case one gets stolen. Inventory control will be another part of your operations. And on your way to 20 properties, you'll get good at launching properties. I actually don't call this one operations. That's more project management. A project is different than operations because a project has a start date, an end date, and a budget. And when you launch a property, the day you get the keys is your start date, the end date is when you get it listed, and the budget is everything you have in the middle. The furniture, the staff, everything. I try to launch one short-term rental apartment in 72 hours or less. I do a batch of 5, it takes me about a week. I, from unfortunate experience, have paid other people to stage my Airbnbs before. They've either done a very bland job or they took forever. One time, a company took nearly 10 weeks to stage 5 apartments. It was a disaster that costs a lot of money. You don't want to make that mistake. Do it yourself. 6 is customer service. In a way, it's sales. In a way, it's marketing, but in a way, it's completely its own thing. When a customer books, you can start building a relationship with them right away. Hi, thanks for booking. Pleasure to have you. I'm here to help you. Would you like to know anything about my city? Cool restaurants, secret hideouts. What can I do for you? Think the big blue guy from Aladdin. Never had a friend like me.
Never had a friend like me.
This is important because you're trying to give someone the magic the entire stay. And when they check out, you want to remind them that you gave them the magic the entire stay. And that's how you get the 5-star review. I have a secret technique that I teach to get 5-star reviews, and it has to do with this automated message before the guest arrives and an automated message when they check out, but it's really cool. If you want access to my customer service process, that's in Cracking Superhost, but for now, I also have another free video on 4 messages you should be sending every guest. You want the format for that. I also have a few flavorful videos throughout the years on customer service because through experience, we realize something and then we have to make a video about it. You're going to like all of them, I promise. They're very helpful. Customer service wins you 5-star reviews, which affects your SEO and your rank and your ability to get more bookings. All of these lead to the final one. This is the one that people really don't get. It's how I survived COVID too. I had 103 properties during COVID, some of them in Philadelphia, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and we survived. COVID crushed us, but we survived. And that was done through revenue management or a revenue strategy. Last year, I spoke at an event called Rentalpreneur, and I taught revenue management that day. I asked everybody to raise their hands if they knew one thing. I said, who here knows what the multi-calendar is? 10% of the room raised their hands. 10% out of 200 hosts. These are all active Airbnb hosts, and they don't know what the multi-calendar is, which is where you do all of your custom pricing from. A lot of your friends, a lot of the gurus will tell you get Price Labs or get Wheelhouse, get Beyond Pricing. That is pricing strategy. That's wrong. That's 100% wrong, because what will happen is you will go empty some days. And those days that go empty are where your pricing software failed. You need to know when they're failing so you can change your prices on your own. It's cool to use the software when you don't know what you're doing, but you also need to know when your software doesn't know what it's doing, right? It's like learning to drive. If you don't have a driver's license, you still cannot get behind the wheel of a Tesla with FSD and let it drive you somewhere. You still have to have a driver's license. Revenue management is the same thing. It's like learning to drive in short-term rentals. Hotels have one position dedicated to this one task, to making sure that that hotel always makes money. High season, low season, everything in between. The reason why Airbnb bust happened for a lot of people, but not for others, is because those people who busted raised their rates with the market, and then when the market checked back, they didn't drop their prices. They weren't paying attention, or they held their price on principle because they thought their listing was just worth that much money. That happened. Don't be that host. I have a whole playlist on pricing strategy, techniques galore. It's how I've been able to be over 90% occupied for 8 years. Thank you so much for watching this video. It means a ton that you hung in there with me this whole time. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope these extra resources continue to teach you. Subscribe maybe for some more videos. And as always, guys, I'll see you on the other side.